speaking of lying and speaking of people behaving badly, NBC says they had no idea that Matt Lauer had a button under his desk. Now, there is some explanation, because what's his name? Roger Ailes had this too, a button under his desk, which I'm sure he used in much the same way. But apparently, if you're very famous or very powerful, that's a security measure. You can, if somebody comes in with a gun, you can lock the door. I guess that's what it's for. But what our friend Matt was using it for was he was locking the door and then just assaulting these women. I mean, it's insane. So the NBC says our management had no idea. They had no idea. And here's the guy, Variety wrote one of the only reason they fired this guy, they keep saying, well, a woman came forward with a claim that we really believed we couldn't get out. They fired because the Times and Variety were coming after him, and they knew it. They were coming down the pike. It was going into the press. They had to get ahead of that story. So here's the reporter from Variety on with Alison Camerata. His name is Ramin Setudeh, on whether NBC knew.
We spoke to 3 women who consider themselves victims of sexual harassment. And we learned in one of the cases, Matt Lauer gave this colleague a sex toy with a note about what he wanted to do with the sex toy. There was another story about how Matt Lauer had a colleague come into his office and took down his pants and exposed himself to the woman.
And told her, expected a sex act when he did that.
And reprimanded her when she resisted. And the question, I think, in going forward is, what did NBC know? Who was involved? Speaking to the victims, they say that the network was aware of Matt's behavior.
Meaning what? Who did the women that you've spoken to, who did they tell? Who did they go to?
High-level executives at NBC were told about his behavior.
Meaning Andy Lack?
I'm not going to name names, but high-level executives were told about his behavior, both current and prior executives.
And what was their response to the women?
And we were told that they protected Matt Lauer because he was so valuable to the Today Show.
Yeah, they're lying. NBC is lying. I try not to predict the future too much. I predict that NBC will be exposed as lying. They are lying, and you can't. Somebody installed the damn button in the desk. Somebody knew these women were going in there. Everybody knew. Everybody knew, I'm sure. I don't know how you would work in an office like that and not know that was going on.